My brother and I, during a school break, decided to attend a fair a couple of blocks away from our house. This fair was taking place in a big parking lot. We walked around for a little while and played some of the carnival games. Then we ran into a clown. He didn't speak. He just smiled and made silly hand motions. He seemed to inch his way closer to us every few seconds. Walking back to my house now on the sidewalks of the quiet Tuesday night neighborhood roads, and that's when we heard something from behind us. It sounded like footsteps. We turned but didn't see anyone. We hung out watching TV for a while before both decided to call it a night. As I was getting ready for bed, my mind started reflecting on the clown we saw and the weird footsteps. It didn't take long before I drifted off to dreamland. I opened my eyes, feeling a sudden chill creep up my spine. Confused and disoriented, I sat up in bed, unsure of what had disturbed my sleep. The room was pitch black and an eerie silence filled the air. Gradually, my eyes started to adjust to the darkness, and I noticed a figure standing in the corner of my room. My heart skipped a beat, and fear gripped me as I saw a hobo clown staring back at me. The clown had a horrifying painted face, twisted into a disturbingly wide grin. Its empty eyes appeared to pierce through the darkness, staring intently at me. Fear rendered me motionless as I watched the clown slowly approach me, taking steps towards me. The clown's oversized, ragged clothes rustled with each movement, sending a shiver down my spine. I felt the room shrinking, suffocating me with a deadly feeling. As it got closer, I saw its disheveled hair and worn-out red nose. It cracked its lips apart, but instead of laughter, it whispered in a hushed, eerie tone. "Awake, Michael," the clown whispered, its voice a chilling mix of amusement and laughter. "I've been waiting for you." I woke up to my brother shaking me awake. Apparently, he had heard me scream and he rushed to my room. Tears welled in my eyes as I realized the horror of my situation. Dread overwhelmed me as I searched the room with my eyes. My brother searched the room after I told him what happened. He didn't find anyone or traces of anyone being there. To date, the haunting presence of the hobo clown still crosses my mind. I do not know if it was a dream or if it was real. My grandma lives in a house that looks like it belongs in a spooky movie. It's in a small town in the Midwest and has an old, worn-out appearance. The house is painted a pale white, which gives it a ghostly feel. There's also a farm nearby, adding to the creepy atmosphere. In the front yard, there's a chipped wooden Mary Nativity, standing quietly as if protecting the house. To enhance the spooky atmosphere, there's a cemetery located just a short distance down the road from my grandma's house. When I was younger, I used to sleep in the top floor room, which happened to be my aunt's room and was situated in the corner. In that room, there was an old wooden rocking chair that would creak ominously, adding an extra unsettling element to the surroundings. When I was a child, there were times when I would wake up in the middle of the night, firmly believing that I could hear the rocking chair in my aunt's room creaking and swaying. It scared me so deeply that I'd wake up my grandma and go to her room for safety. Almost 10 years later, while talking to my mom and aunt, we recalled those unsettling nights and agreed that my grandma's house was genuinely creepy. As my aunt goes on to share more tales about the disturbing history of my grandma's house, my aunt's voice grew quieter and filled with unease. She shared a haunting tale from her youth that sent chills down my spine. With a trembling voice, she talked about how when she was younger, she ended up sharing a room with her mom because she thought her room was haunted. One morning, she said she woke up and the rocking chair was about 2 feet closer to her bed. And after that night, it would start rocking on a nightly basis at midnight. The chair would initiate its eerie ritual, rocking back and forth with an otherworldly rhythm. The room, tainted by its haunting secret, left us paralyzed with a lingering fear that refused to fade away. When I was 14 years old, I used to frequently stay up till the early hours of the morning engrossed in activities on my computer. This one night, I don't remember how many hours I must have been on my computer, but when I reluctantly tore my eyes away from the computer, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I noticed that the house was silent and everyone else was asleep. Suddenly, I felt really thirsty and decided to go to the kitchen for a drink. Stepping out of my room, an eerie and unsettling sensation washed over me, as if an invisible presence was in the house nearby. Dismissing it as a figment of my imagination, triggered by the enveloping darkness, I shrugged off the unsettling feeling, attributing it to mere tricks of my mind. As I wandered down the hallway to the kitchen, I didn't bother to turn on any lights since there was a nightlight in the hallway, and there was enough light to get by. After getting a drink, I'm walking back to the bedroom when I get this weird feeling like someone is watching me. As I took a step forward, a chill ran down my spine, causing me to instinctively turn around. As I did, there is this big white mist just floating right behind me. My heart raced, and without a moment's hesitation, I immediately turned around and went back into the safe, bright room. The thing is, confusion gripped me as I realized no windows were facing that hallway, and I hadn't passed the nightlight yet, so it definitely wasn't a trick of the light. All the doors leading to the hallway were also closed. A few years later, when I was moved to the small room closest to that spot, I got the heebie-jeebies and couldn't sleep without a lamp on. It wasn't until sometime later, after the sighting, that I learned that in the 80s, a guy was renting out the house. He was arrested for the kidnap, rape, and disappearance of a bunch of kids in the area, and for the suspected murder of his wife. They never found her, and she supposedly ran away, according to him. Cadaver dogs went over the farm, but they never found anything. The cops must not have done a good job, though, because when they moved in, my mom found a pair of boys' underwear in the toilet tank. The missing wife was never found, and he died in prison about a decade ago. I think she's still there, though.